Awesome. Hello everyone, welcome to the Webster Public Library. I'm Jenny Paxson. I am the Reader's Discovery Librarian here at the library, but I also do our Diverse Abilities Dialogues with a wonderful team from Autism Up and Parents Helping Parents Coalition of Monroe County. And this has become a super big passion for me, helping out people, especially caregivers of people with developmental disabilities. I have 2 children who are developmentally disabled, and they are the best kids ever, and I just want to make sure they have the most supports. And so I've been trying to also help out other families in the community finding resources. And I started here doing our Special Needs Parent Resource Fair, which comes up every April, sometime mid-April during Autism Awareness Month, I think. And we have had over 60 people, 60 organizations come and partner with us. And so I've got a lot of friends now in many organizations, and luckily we're able to bring out these awesome people and have these great panelists and have these conversations with the community and share this information. And we've been able to record these sessions, which I am super proud of. Our person in the back here, Brian, who's done all of our recordings, because we've reached out way more people because of that. Every month we get 50 to 100 different people watching these presentations, so we're very lucky to be able to record these and share them with the community. We do have some resources on the side if you want to take a look at them at the end. And our upcoming panels for the rest of the year are over there. We've already started planning out for next year, so keep an eye out for December on. October is work placement. November is, I'm forgetting, sorry. It's financial planning. And financial planning will be recorded. It's not recorded, it'll be a Zoom presentation, because many of the panelists on that are from across New York State. And so some had to drive like 2 hours to get here. So to accommodate them, we decided to make it a Zoom panel. So if you sign up for that, you will get a link to the password and all that stuff. So keep an eye out for those 2. The next month, October, is here in person. So if you have any questions for me afterwards, that's lovely. But I would like to introduce Parents Helping Parents Coalition of Monroe County, and they can talk a little bit about them, and then Autism Up can come up and chat a little bit about them, our wonderful partners. Here you go, Kim.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you to our panelists. I love you all. I'm Kim Dewar. I'm the Vice President of Parents Helping Parents. It's an organization formed by 3 moms who realized that we are advocating for funding, state funding for early intervention and preschool special ed services, but we also just need to help the families here and now. So we have started free purposeful programming monthly. We do webinars every other month, and we do in-person play dates every month. We also run a sibling support circle monthly. Wow. And what else? The Diverse Abilities Dialogues with Autism Up in the Webster Public Library. The list goes on. And we still do state and state advocacy for increased funding, of course. Our next webinar is this month for Early Intervention Awareness Month. It is on safe play places around Rochester and Monroe County. And our, I was gonna say performer, our speaker, thank you, is Danielle Salamone, who is one of our founders, and she is a wealth of knowledge as far as safe places to take your children to practice those wonderful play skills. And here is Kelly Conlon from Autism Up.
All right, I am Kelly Conlon, the Director of Membership and Community Impact.
And I'm Heather Burrows. I'm the Director of Advocacy at Autism Up.
And where do we begin? Autism Up is huge, and we do a lot. We are on our 21st year, so we were founded by 4 moms 21 years ago. That it was well before the internet and Google searches, and they were just trying to find a community of support and find their resources through places like libraries back then. And we have evolved. We offer so many classes for all ages, really birth well into adulthood. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just talking.
No, that's okay. So one of the cool things I think about Autism Up is that the classes really, I don't know where to hold this. I feel like there's some feedback. The classes are kind of the critical gaps. You know, the traditional programming that you can get through a school or, you know, insurance-based programming, it's wonderful, but we have those like real life gaps, and because we're living it and breathing it too, we can see those in real time. And so like as our kids have grown up, our programming's changed and some of our areas of focus have changed, and advocacy is one of the core values because there's so many systemic issues, you know, like big deal if you have a roof over your head but nowhere to go, or big deal, it's a really big deal if you have no roof over your head, right, and you're boarding in a hospital or you're stuck in a place that you don't want to be. So our focus is really looking at what the community needs and then translating it into something that we can help with. I really am so sorry, the feedback is hard. I don't know if it's because of that one maybe. Okay. I put it closer, so that was my fault. I do a number of different things, but I'm helping with the fight for home care right now. I was just at the Senate hearing in New York City last week. I have a big focus on housing and making self-direction work, but everybody who has an intellectual or developmental disability, even though our name is Autism Up, we really focus on families that are facing challenges.
Yeah, and we also have an Access VR contract now, which is super exciting. And we are starting to talk about employment. So if you have heard, we have our ice cream truck around town, Scoop Up, and we have Perk Up Cafe. We have a class that is at the commissary called Chef Circle. So they are cooking, learning cooking skills, and then they are able to sell those products in our Perk Up Cafe the following day, which is super exciting. Also, we are lots of moms that help to found and work there. And recently we started employing siblings because we're 21 years old, right? So these siblings are old enough and they're such good advocates. But even more recently now, we are employing past participants who are now ready to give back, and they're supporting classes that they took when they were younger, and lots of self-advocates that are working at Autism Up. So it's super exciting.
And you're doing your fundraiser right now, too.
Oh my gosh, yes, Kite Flight. We are having a celebration on Saturday at Seabreeze, 10 to 2. You can find more information at autismup.org under events. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And now, without further ado, let's get to the panel. And usually we like to start these out with you introducing yourself and then saying a little bit about your organization and what you do for the community.
I speak over there, right? No, just speak. It'll pick up. Lovely. Okay, my name is Sue Wyatt. I work at Starbridge. Starbridge is an agency that serves folks with disabilities in a variety of ways. There are flyers over there if you want to get to know us a little better. What I do is I am a family education specialist, which means I help families navigate the special ed system on behalf of their kids. And that could be anywhere from birth to age 26. So that could include, you know, early intervention. It could include preschool, school age, post-secondary, all the things. Other parts of Starbridge provide things like fiscal intermediary services if you have OPWDD eligibility. We do have a few residences for those folks that have that OPWDD eligibility. We have an employment department that serves folks with disabilities through Access VR. What else do we do? The family support services through OPWDD, we can provide that too, like family reimbursement, stuff like that. I will promote a couple of things that we have coming up. One starts October 2nd. It's called Creating a Life After High School. It is a 5-week program, and it's going to be at the Al Siegel Complex on Elmwood Avenue. And it will be free, but if you have self-direction, then they're gonna charge your budget. So just wanted to let you know about that. there are flyers over there about it. And something near and dear to my heart is called the Family Empowerment Series. And it is a series of 6 workshops where you can learn how to be a more effective advocate for your child in the school system. And we talk about things like effective communication, what's an IEP, what's a 504 plan, how can you take care of yourself while you're taking care of your child, because that's also important. So the flyers for those things are over there. If you want to get any more information about Starbridge, you can go to www.starbridgeinc.org, and it'll have a wealth of information for you there. And I will pass it on to Gamsa.
Thank you, Sue. My name is Gamsa Venable. I work for Prime Care Coordination. Prime Care Coordination is an agency that serves individuals with developmental disabilities across New York State. We are over 39 counties in New York. We offer care management services. We have a clinical team. We have enrollment team, and we have me. I am the education specialist. My background is in teaching. I've been in the field almost 20 years, and I was a teacher. I was in the positions for education leadership. I was a care manager as well. So all that background all together merged into one, being also a mom to 3 children and 2 with developmental disabilities. I wanted to bring into the Prime Care and wanted to give more back to our community. And we had this role, but I've been in this role for a year now, and I've worked almost with 200 individuals, helping them navigating special education system, whether they're in early intervention or preschool services. It could be school age, or it could be just graduating from high school, exiting high school to adult life. It could be anywhere. So what I do is I have my flyer on the table as well that actually outlines what I do, but I do more than this. It talks about the guidance I provide to the families, to our providers, care managers, when they have a question. Or it could be simply just looking at an IEP and just outlining what we need to be adding, maybe something that may need to be changed on the IEP. Looking at the 504 plans, talking to families about homeschooling when they need guidance. Another thing that I always talk about with our families is the transition services. Our families, I always say, just imagine getting an engineering report about your house in front of you, and you live in that house, but you look at the engineer, but you have no idea what to ask. And your house relies on that, you live in that. Sometimes families see the IEP for the first time at their children's meetings. They don't know what to ask, they don't know what to look for, they don't know what's missing, they don't know what to recommend. So I get in the picture in that time and say, hey, I think this may be a good idea, or maybe we should question about this. And we collaborate with the school districts, and we want to make sure we are working as a team together to make sure that we get the best outcomes for our children. I've been doing this for my child for a long time, and I enjoy doing this for the individuals that we work with. Anybody with Prime Care can receive the service. We don't have a wait list. I'm one person, but I got great time management skills, so I'll get back to you. If you're not with Prime Care, the good thing is, if you're eligible for OPWDD services, once you get connected with our enrollment team, again, we have the flyers, you can call the enrollment team. While you're in the process of eligibility of OPWDD, you can say, I need an education advocate, or I have some questions about my child's school. I have some questions about the IEP. I have some questions about the transition, whatever it may look like. They will make a referral, and I will get in contact with that family, and we will walk through the process together. I've done that for so many families that are in the enrollment process until they got the eligibility, or maybe they didn't get the eligibility, but they had me in the process. So it's pretty much, this is what I do. I'm happy to be here, but if there are any more questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm Heather Burrows. I have a sister with autism, so 50 years ago, we did not know that word. Nobody did. Erin was Erin, and she was quirky and different, and she was just her. We were writing scripts out for her, not knowing those were social stories. We were doing all the things, and now she works at the Golisano Autism Center. with Happiness House. She actually also works at CDS Monarch at a group home, and she's one of my daughter's CDPAP attendants. And she says, I'm giving the kids what I didn't have. You know, and I think that that says a lot for who she is as a person. And being her big sister, I just saw the world so differently growing up. You know, it was just, she can look at things in such a unique way, and it's amazing, but the world didn't get it. You know, like, so she was bullied and mistreated and punished rather than supported. And I'm one of her trusted guides. That's what she calls me. So I'm happy to be that for her. And it kind of prepped me, right? I was really shy growing up. And then I have 4 kids with disabilities and my sister. So I have this very personal connection. And my kids are radically different. Not one of them is even remotely similar to the other ones. So even though I was a school psychologist for years and I tested hundreds of children and worked with hundreds of families across Monroe and Orleans County, there was never a Devin on my caseload. Quite literally, she was the first child I ever met with all the red flags that she had. And it's been a long journey that I've made very public. I live out loud. She had a service dog at one point. The school district said because she couldn't talk to the dog, they weren't going to talk to the dog. They actually made my life very difficult for 8 years. It was a very, very trying time. But I was the mom who put a billboard up in front of the school, did the candlelight vigils. I called the department at New York State Department of Ed. They sided with me. Then the United States of America Department of Justice sided with me. And still, the school district would not accommodate the service dog. So the United States of America had to sue them. I say that because, wow, you know, like you think it was resolved in 2019, but in 2019, school districts were still saying that a child was too delayed, their needs were too intense, that they were not worthy of accommodation. So I stand here as somebody who used to be really shy, and like even in school, like when they said my name, I couldn't even say here, you know, like, and now I'm like, give me the megaphone. Because people need to hear what the actual reality is, and I think that's my takeaway from a lot of things. We live all our challenges, and lots of times behind a closed door. We don't tell people how hard it is sometimes, and encouraging people and empowering them to open up their door and show people the life that we live. Because I find that when you do that, and you are a little vulnerable in a very strategic way, then people want to help. You know, by human nature, we want to help. So I am definitely an outside of the box advocacy person. So if you have tried the traditional routes and they have not worked for you, give me a call.
That's great. Hi, I'm Bridget Hurley. I'm with the Children's Agenda. And the Children's Agenda is a nonprofit, private organization here in Rochester. We operate locally and across the state, and now federally. And we are not a service delivery organization. I don't work with children. I work with other advocates and elected officials and agency administrators. Our goal is to change systems to get more funding. Kim and Britt are some of our, really are the very earliest parent advocates around kids with disabilities. So I run a statewide campaign called Kids Can't Wait. And our focus is on young children and changing the systems that impact young children with developmental delays and disabilities. So we do all kinds of things. You know, we do letter writing campaigns. We, you know, meet with the governor's staff. We meet with the DOH commissioner and early intervention, Bureau of Early Intervention folks. But what I really would love to talk about today, I think it's what I'm supposed to talk about, is the parent leadership work that we do. We are supported by amazing parent advocates who are very skilled in things like how do you speak at a press conference, and what do you do when you're sitting across the table from a legislator, and you know, what are the good communication tools you can use? How do you engage other people in advocacy for young children with developmental delays and disabilities? So I think, I want to say two things, I guess. One is the way that laws change and public funding changes is by people power. It's actually really money and people power, but we don't operate a lot on the money side, so we are all about people power. The elected officials care about voters, and if they hear from enough folks, then they will listen harder and hopefully change. I'm going to be really honest. We have our work cut out for us in New York State because there is honestly not a lot of support at the state level for early intervention services, and a little bit less problematic, but even still with preschool special education. So happy to talk about what advocacy looks like and what we can all get involved in. But I, of course, have action items for you to take today. I didn't know there was a table over there. I'll put them over there. But so first of all, we have a parent leadership Zoom training tomorrow that everyone's invited to. This QR code will take you to the registration for it. There'll be Spanish interpretation available. Anyone is welcome. But again, it's pretty focused on engaging parents in advocacy, particularly at the state level. And this is something that we heartily invite everyone here today to take action with. As I said, we don't normally work on the federal level, but because of the many changes that are happening, we have started to become more involved. This QR code will take you to a form where you'll fill out your name and address. And then when you click send, it'll go to the 2 U.S. senators, Gillibrand and Schumer, and to your own federal House member. If you live in Monroe County, it's probably Joe Morelli, but if you don't, and this is statewide, so folks can use it wherever in New York State. And I guess I don't know exactly the format, but we can talk a little more about what's happening at the federal level. Most of what we're concerned about is proposed. It's not actions that have been taken. So, they're negotiating the federal budget right now. And so this is where we can really have an impact and make sure that that our elected representatives know what we want and, more importantly, what we don't want. Mm-hmm. We don't run into many politicians who say, I don't care about young children with disabilities. They just don't know what's wrong with the systems. Like they need us to tell them, here's what's wrong and here's how you should fix it. And so this is an action alert, and this is registering for the training tomorrow night via Zoom, and I'm happy to be here.
So I have a general advocacy question. With a lot of the issues, as you were just saying, about just state and federal wide, it feels like, when you contact your senators, that it goes into like a black hole, like you don't feel like you're actually being heard or listened to. Like, how much of an impact do these emails and phone calls to a voicemail actually have on, like, the plight of people with disabilities? It's like, it feels like not much, but I keep on doing it. So I was just curious just because you brought up that so I was just curious what you would say.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Okay.
Generally,
yeah. So I'll be really frank. These email action alerts probably have the least impact, but it's the kind of thing where it's necessary but not enough. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So the legislative offices definitely track how many emails they get. If there's a lot, then we do have the impact. If it's scattershot and maybe just a few people here and there, I'm not quite sure. They do log all the phone calls. Mm-hmm. Phone calls are super effective. Even I just was talking to somebody about postcards.
Yep.
Like
they weigh them.
Postcards that like
they put them in piles and
weigh
them.
Up.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really super important. And then every year we take a bus load of folks to Albany, and we all do that. And that's the most impactful is when you can tell your story in person. So the last thing I'll just say is that the stories are really important. Like I said, on this issue, it's not so much that anybody thinks we shouldn't be doing anything to help little kids with disabilities, but they just don't know. And so we collect video stories and use those a lot in social media and even in a meeting with a legislator. And so that's also powerful. There's something that everybody can do. And all of it has an impact, but yeah, I would say that the phone calls and meeting in person are probably the most important.
Yeah. Showing up at the office with your child is very impactful. Once they meet you and they see you, they know who you are, and then keep the relationship going. Joe Morelli knocked on Doris's door, and she has a daughter, Sarah, and that is why parents get paid in CDPAP for their adult children. He was campaigning. He was just handing out flyers, and she said, "Come into my home and meet my daughter." And it took years with him being motivated and having that personal connection to Sarah and Doris, but it shows me that sometimes it's just the right person connecting, right? You tell the story to 10 people, but one of them walks away and thinks about it, and then they're like, that's like my cousin's kid, or that's like my neighbor, and all of a sudden it means more to them. Instead of having like a huge town hall, having 2 of your friends come with you, it feels more casual. It doesn't feel like an attack, because really the politicians, like you said, they're not aware. We feel like a very overfunded group. There's so many offices and agencies that are supposed to be supporting us. You can have your kid in a group home. They have a day hab. Why are you complaining? You know, they just don't have the total picture. And sometimes just letting them open that door and showing them that. But what I do a lot is the investment mindset. So often we're doing Band-Aids, right? We're hemorrhaging over here. So we move funds from over here to over there. Like that's what we did with early intervention, right? Like we're like, oh, these kids are doing great. We can move this money over here now because, you know, we have a crisis over here. But now these kids aren't doing great. And these kids are gonna cost us more money in the future because we didn't give them what they needed when they were younger. So even though I love the personal stories that pull at heartstrings, sometimes it's numbers. There's 109,000 adults with an IDD that live in New York State, that live with parents over 60. 109,000 people will not have a home or a caregiver in 5 to 10 years. Where will they go?
I'm going to jump in here. My name is Gail. I have
Microphone.
a sister.
Stuck your finger into it.
Want you to speak, Gail?
Yeah.
I have a sister who is 66 years old. She was born with the cord wrapped around her neck. In the beginning, they told my mom she was never going to walk, she was never going to talk, but she survived. She has the mentality of a 14-year-old. She got married, very defiant against my parents. You know, she's going to do what she wants to do, never believed that there was a problem. My parents really never had her tested, but I went back and got all the school from the psychologists. And they, every single year, it came back and said that she was mentally retarded. Okay, she got married, her husband passed away, and now I'm a caregiver. I take care of all her finances. Everything is set up through the bank, you know, gas and electric, everything is paid automatically. Because she's been on her own so long, I cannot get her to come with me. She is very defiant, she's not going, and I can try, this is a horrible thing, I can try threatening her, and it doesn't make any difference. She's not going anywhere, and that's my problem. I don't know what to do. I'm 73 years old. I am taking care of my other sister who has dementia, which we are going into stage 7 of that, so I'm also taking care of all of her stuff. I don't know how to help my sister Diane. I know where I'm going. With Donna, I don't know what to do. How do I get funding or a home for her if something happens to me, because she is so defiant. If I was to send somebody there at the house, she would slam the door in their face.
Yes.
She's very defiant because she does not believe she has a problem. And she gets herself into more trouble than I go and get her out of. It's unbelievable. But that's where I'm at, and I don't know what to do.
I could speak to OPWDD side. Has she ever received any services through Office of People with Developmental Disabilities?
No.
Okay, have you ever tried applying for those services?
I have not, only because I wasn't really know how to go about doing it.
Okay, so we can have a conversation afterwards, but just quickly, when there is either intellectual disability, it could be other type of developmental disabilities. If the diagnosis was made before becoming an adult, simply, then, and there are paperwork to support that, she could be very likely to be eligible for further services. And OPW services are, it's a wide spectrum. It could be housing, it could be having a ComHab worker working with the individual to support their independence. It could be a self-direction budget to support them in the house, wherever they are. So there are so many different waiver services that OPWD provides, which I can talk to you individually. I would love to see if that's possible.
I would like to, but I have another meeting at 12:30, so
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely grab our flyers and,
Due to
Yes.
the nature of her injury too.
So that was actually my question. For parents who want to, or advocates, family members, caregivers who want to get in touch with each of you, you know, they heard something that you said today and it sparked I need somebody to look at my child's IEP, or, I want to look at OPWDD eligibility. I want to become a parent advocate at state level. What is that very first phone call, that very first contact that somebody should make to your organization if something you said sparked, hey, I need to connect with these people?
So for Starbridge, our phone number is 585-546-1700, or you can visit our website, www.starbridgeinc.org. At the top of the page, there's a Contact Us button, and if you press that, you can fill out that form online. So the phone number or the website is the best way to contact Starbridge.
The other thing that bothers me is that I have seen so many different circumstances of things going on and these people not being taken care of. So, you know, I'm an advocate for this group of people. Okay, so she has her checking account, she gets pension, and she gets her Social Security every month. She only gets like $2,700. But the apartment she's in is a nice apartment, it's well taken care of, the manager knows who she is, yada, yada, yada. My thing is, something happens to me, how do I get somebody that is going to help her with her money? Who's going to take care of that?
Yeah.
I mean, I have the POA, I'm the power of attorney. I do not have custody of her, and that is never going to happen, I'll tell you right now. She's 66, I'm 73. My parents really did a misjustice with her, but at the time, my mom and my dad thought that, you know, I think they had blinders on, that, yes, she learned how to walk, she learned how to talk. She was kind of off on a lot of things, you know, school, she hated school, so they never really pursued anything. And then when she got to be a teenager, holy heck, she went bananas. You know, she moved out because my parents were trying to coddle her and she didn't like it, so she moved out. So she has an insurance policy, which she does not know about. You could give her $1 and she thinks it's a $100 bill.
Right.
She knows nothing about money.
That if she gets Social Security, you can designate someone to be her rep payee, and that person is in charge of her bank account, and they're gonna do what you're doing right now. And you might wanna do that while you're still here.
Yeah,
and work
yeah.
alongside of them.
Yeah.
And if your sister appreciates that you're paying her bills, she'll sign up, right? Like, that might be the tricky part, but there is a system to do that even if you're not an OPWDD.
And it's gonna be hard no matter what, because honest to God, the girl thinks I'm gonna live forever.
Yeah.
You know, she does. I mean, she calls me in the middle of the night crying hysterically, wanting to know if I'm okay.
Oh.
You know, she's
So she does have some fears.
Oh,
you
she
know?
has lots of fears, and I've tried to get her into counseling, you know, just to see if it could help. She won't even listen to that. She wants to know nothing. She just wants to know that I'm there. If there's a problem, she can call me. I'm gonna take care of that problem. She's gonna go on living the way that she's living. There's no problem. But she doesn't realize that, like I said, that I'm 73. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I want her to be safe. My sister Diane, I know she's eventually gonna have to go into some kind of a facility. So I'm dealing with that, but Donna really has me scared. I don't know what
That's
to
a very
do.
hard group. When I worked at Monroe Community Hospital, I helped a lot of people get into the community, and I was so proud of myself. They were like, call me the Underground Railroad. I'm getting you out, giving you an apartment. But if you've been institutionalized and you go out in the community, you just spend all your money and you have fun, and then you get kicked out of your apartment and you turn your staff away. Like you said, you close the door and then they quit, and then no one's taking care of you, and then you end up back at the nursing home.
She has no concept.
Yeah, so even if you got her into something, it's very hard. So she almost needs not a guardian, but a life coach. Like, she needs somebody who she's going to turn to with you right now, and then when you're not there, somebody who takes over.
I mean, she had to have, she drives, which, I'm not really sure how that happened, but she goes only to doctor's appointments, she doesn't travel, she lives in Bloomfield. I told her, you're not coming into Webster, I will come out to see you, you're not driving the expressway or anything. But she'll call and, she'll say, well, I was told that I have to have brand new tires. I said, well, okay, you probably do. And she goes, well, it's $600, where am I gonna get the money? See, she doesn't know that I've got a savings, I've been taking money out of her checking account, putting it in a savings account, and then she has an insurance policy. So she's okay. But I also try to put the fear in her that you can't go to Walmart and spend $300 on stuffed animals.
Right.
Because that's the mentality that she's at.
Right.
So it's a balance between us. She knows how to push my buttons, that's for sure. But all I want is somebody to sit down, tell me, do I need to get a lawyer? Do I need to bring a lawyer into this? Does the lawyer need to be in charge of a trust?
That's what I was just
That's
thinking.
what I need to find out.
So Future Care Services, have you heard about Future Care Services?
No.
Okay, that's something that you may want to get in contact.
The
And I can
writing
provide you that
LC,
information
yeah.
too.
We did a panel on it last month, and you can watch the video there online.
I'm sorry.
We did a panel on it last month, and you can watch a video about it online.
It's definitely, they're a great organization.
That will be very helpful.
They can walk you through different steps and different levels of support.
Yeah.
I think we should move on to other people on the
Yep, I'm sorry, thank you very much. Thank you.
I just want to make sure everybody is heard.
I just want to add one last thing about the advocacy piece when you're dealing with elected officials. Sometimes, like, people think, oh, my congressperson agrees with me on all these things, I don't need to call them. Call them anyway, because they want to know that you're supporting them, they want to know that their constituents are supporting them.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're counting the calls.
They
They're
are,
weighing the
yeah.
mail. A one-click email might not count the same as a handwritten letter, but they're weighing it out and seeing what topics are trending. And that's what they're doing the sound bites on, right? Like when they're
Exactly.
doing their campaigning. So you're right. Reinforcing that, like, I will give them so much love online if they post something. I'm like, thank you so much, Senator Rivera. I am so glad you're standing with us because this is so critical. And then I tell all my friends on all my other Facebook pages and social media platforms, show him some love. He's standing up for us, and that helps.
Sorry, next.
Can we finish the
Yes,
quick
last
way
question.
of getting in
Yes,
touch?
Absolutely. So I'll give you the phone number for Prime Care Coordination. That will be the first step to get in contact, and that will be our enrollment team. Generally, still be able to take the phone call and walk you through the process. Our phone number is 844-347-3168, and you can also fill out an inquiry on our website, Prime Care Coordination website. If you are in need of education support, when you make that phone call, you will simply tell them what you need, and they will make the referral to me. And generally speaking, I would get in contact with you within 24 hours.
For Autism Up, I highly recommend going to autismup.org. Lots of the resources there, how to contact us. I'm Heather Burrows, so my email is my first letter H, Burrows, BURROUGHS, at autismup.org. But you can find us by Googling our names, right, in the search bar. You can also call our family navigation team at Autism Up and tell them what you're dealing with. And as I say that, I want to let you guys know that we partner with IDDO, which is the Ombudsman Program for people with IDD. Great organization, free resource. So if you have, you're hitting brick walls and you're just not moving something along, they're another great resource to reach out to and ask. Flora Ramirez is heading that, and she's a fierce attorney. She has a child with disabilities, and she's one of us, you know, and she's fighting for us. So definitely worth giving them a call.
I have cards here that anyone's welcome to pick up. I'm also going to, I'm realizing we didn't actually put our website on the flyer, but I'll handwrite a few here, so.
I'll put cards out too.
Can you say it out loud right now?
The website is www.thechildrensagenda.org. Or you could just Google the Children's Agenda, and you'll find us. And we're small, so.
Small but mighty.
Small but mighty.
What advice would you give parents who truly don't have time and energy to advocate? They are drowning. Where would you send them? What would you say to them?
Find your people.
Exactly. Parent groups.
Find your
Parent
tribe.
support groups.
Mhm.
SEPTAs.
We have meetups, NECTups. We have like all these different, you know, targeted support groups. Find one that makes sense for you. A time that works for you. People that you want to be in the room with. People that fill you up. And then just link arms with them. Sometimes just walking into a CSE meeting or a life plan meeting with another person that you know is going to back you, or at least talk about it when they leave, right? Like sometimes you just need the person to be like, do you believe that? Like, can you believe they just said that? Like sometimes you just, that's the release, right? Because you sit in this world of wondering, was I supposed to say that? Are they allowed to do that? Can we get up and just leave? I remember I was with Noran in one of my very first CSEs. I was a school psychologist. I had been one for years. And she looked at me and she said, we're standing up and tabling the meeting because it had gotten so heated. And I go, we can do that? Like I had no idea. You could say, we're done. You know, like we're not getting anywhere. So sometimes you're drowning. Pick one thing. Today I'm calling the care manager and I'm telling her I'm drowning.
Yes, and take advantage of the, really these parent groups that we have in Monroe County, Parents Helping Parents, for example.
Yes.
Most of the support groups meet online, which is great, like a mother like me, like you, who has a busy life, work, children with special needs, taking advantage of those online meetings. Just yesterday, we had a meeting and Starbridge had this beautiful round table, and everybody at this table were present, talking about some of the ongoing issues within the field, and just brainstorming, getting great ideas, and just venting sometimes. It's necessary. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just.
No one's coming to save us. You know, like, so you have to appreciate we're the cavalry. We're who we're waiting for. We have to like step into that, and it's so scary. But when you don't do it alone, then it feels doable, right? And you have people, somebody who's one step ahead of you is pulling you, and then you're pulling the person behind you. You know, we have to help each other because we know New York State and the federal government, we're not the priority. It's hard to say it, but we're not. So we just have to like acknowledge it and figure it out with each other, and not relying on one budget stream. This is my new thing. I have a podcast partner in Utica. He said none of the people with IDD had transportation in central New York. He talked to the veterans, they bought a bus, and now veterans who are coming back from tours of duty and needing meaningful, productive ways to spend their day and get back into society and give back, their new mission is driving the bus. And now in Utica, they drive this bus and they bring people to all their appointments for free. Veterans paid for it. He didn't ask OPWDD. And that sparked this whole movement, worthdoing.org, I think. And now they're buying 100 buses, and 2 are going in every state across the country. And that was just one guy in Utica who had an idea and talked to a person outside his bubble. You know, and sometimes you just had to go, well, it's not working with them.
maybe OMH, the Office for Mental Health. Maybe I go right to DOH instead of talking to OPWDD, and you just try different doors, see which one opens.
Okay, can I just say a couple things? Everything Heather just said. Everybody else here. It's really, really important. But just a couple things I would add is that, so the one click isn't the most effective, but you know what? If you have 5 seconds in a day, in the middle of your crazy day with your child or children, click the one click, because it adds another voice to the elected officials. The other thing I would just say is that when we have a parent group that meets monthly, and we talk about advocacy, but we talk about a lot else. And there's a lot that happens after the Zoom is over, and people are talking to each other. So, and it's fine if you come and then you don't come for 3 months, and then you come again, and then you don't. And it's fine. We have people with adult children with disabilities who are advocating for early intervention. So it doesn't matter, what system that you're advocating for.
Right.
Yeah, so just whatever you can do honestly does make a difference, because they don't hear from us because our lives are crazy.
They know it's hard to get to Albany. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it is really hard for me to get my
Yeah.
kids together and travel anywhere.
And you can also, my favorite thing is to call the governor. I do it all the time. And you can, I should put that number on here is what I should do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can go to
Her cell phone?
kidscan'twait.org, kidscan'twait.org or littlesadena.org and our social media, and you can find it, and you can call the number, and if you press 1, you get to a voicemail. You can come 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, it doesn't matter. You can leave a
kids leave
message.
Governor Hochul voicemails on a monthly basis.
That's so great. Nice.
Just checking in.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
care about early intervention. We hope you do too.
It's great, and we have this beautiful video taken by Kim that's on our social media. I still promote that, because you actually you make the phone call.
Yeah.
Because people are
like
scared, like, oh wait, I don't want to call the governor.
They might
Okay,
ask you
so
your
awesome.
zip code if someone asks,
Well, you
answers,
can-
but they don't, like, it's not scary. They
It's
actually,
not
it's
scary
not
at all. And
scary
so
once you do it.
You can leave a voicemail, and it doesn't matter. No one's, you're not talking to anyone. I
Right.
promote that just because people are like, I don't want to get on the phone for 10 minutes. But you can also, once in a while, I press 2, and that means I talk to this lovely person whose entire job is taking feedback for the governor. They're not going to ask you, like, anything about the issue or your family. You just say, I'm really concerned about children with disabilities, or I'm really concerned about early intervention, and they'll say, thank you very much. I will send the governor this message.
One of the things we could say to the governor over and over again, we want to be in your State of the State address. We want to be represented in your speech, because whatever she says in January is what's in the budget.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk about it. She said the word disability one time, almost flippantly, at the end of the last State of the State address, like just kind of threw us in with a whole hodgepodge of other groups. I was like, one mention of disability in the whole speech. So we want to be in the State of the State address. We want to know our governor sees us as a state priority.
And they're actually putting together that budget address right now.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
This is the
we'll
time
do it
to talk to her.
It looks like Sue has something to add.
I just wanted to add, when you call, sometimes it could help if you write a script.
Yes.
Just to write some things down, and then you read it, and it takes 30 seconds, and you're done. So it doesn't have to be, you get on the phone and you're stumbling over your words or whatever, but if you write it all down in advance, and this is what we tell families when we're going into CSE meetings as well, write down your concerns in advance, and then you can't get lost, because it's all right there.
There's also a director of advocacy now for OPWDD. Her name is Lisa Salami. She oversees the IDDO, but I will email her and she emails me back. It's amazing, and it's personalized, and she's actually talking to me. So there's another person that if we keep those connections and keep the conversation going, they'll at least know boots on the ground what's happening, because they're nice little fluffy reports that they do at the strategic forums where they read off all that data, and you're like, who told you that? Like, that is not the life we live, and that's not our reality, that disconnect. It's important to bridge it, to show them, maybe that's what your numbers say, but come to my house. See what it really feels like.
I know there's a lot of
things going on in the federal level right now. And it's overwhelming with a lot of like the different things that are impacting people with developmental disabilities, not just early intervention age, but all across the board. Is there something that like organizations are really targeting as like a conversation piece? Because like when you go to the websites and you like, they're like, what topic are you under? And I'm always like, well, what is this? There's nothing that says disability.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm like, how do I fill this out in the most effective way? And what do I, like, I send like 2 to 3 emails sometimes in one day because I'm like, well, which one am I kind of doing first? COVID? Am I doing, education? Am I doing Medicaid? But I also want to be the most impactful for what I'm doing. So what would be your suggestions?
I will say that the good news from Starbridge is I operate under a grant from the Department of Education, which, is in the process of, it's in limbo right now, but the Parent Training and Information Center grant did get renewed. Starbridge did get that grant, and I believe we're funded at least through about roughly a year from now. Now, can they do a rescission? God only knows. And this is another point of advocacy. So if you could advocate that those monies find their way to us, that we can continue the good work we do that is done at no cost to families, that could be a thing. And I'm sorry, I'm probably not addressing your question, am I?
It's kind of why I laughed a little bit. I don't know if you saw that, but I was just like an overarching. I know you're what's important to you. I understand that, but I'm like how do you make the most impact when you contact? Like, what would be like? How do you say, this is? I know you were saying personal stories,
But
but it's
the
just
big,
like
the trends, right? There's 109,000 New Yorkers who are going to need a home in 5 years. There's 117,000 nursing home beds that are full. That's like doubling all the nursing homes. Like, and when you say that, they go, well, we don't want twice as many nursing homes. No kidding. So what are we doing right now? Because we got like 5 to 10 years max before 109,000 people lose their home and their caregiver. Sometimes it's like that jolt of, you can try to keep kicking the can down the road, but we're here. The crisis is right now. In Buffalo, 724 families started a class action lawsuit. They said, we have been waiting for a group home for over a decade. And when you are on that list, it means you are in crisis and in immediate need, and they've been waiting over 10 years. So we need people, they need to lift well-intentioned regulations, like Olmstead. They use it against us when it was supposed to help us. So you have to say, we can tweak this law. We can change this regulation. You can do it right now. You don't even have to be in session. And it would change our reality dramatically. And sometimes if they know the low-hanging fruit, the one little tweak, the 2 words they could take out of a law and make it work, they're the champion. We gave them the answer. Boom. And sometimes they just do it.
I think that sounds so easy.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works that way, though. It really does. But if we're not approaching them that way and we're just complaining or lighting them up, and it's easy to do that because we're angry. But if we're like, I can help you out. Every 2 years you got to run for election, right? This would look really good on your postcard. This would be a beautiful thing on your mailer.
Can I just say one thing that maybe people partially answer is, like, if you asked me what's the one thing would make the biggest impact, it's Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's both at the federal and the state level because, of course, the federal government, administers Medicaid and is making changes that are going to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
But the state is also going to experience a lot of cuts, and they need to decide where they're going to cut other programs in order to fill some of the Medicaid. So we need to say, don't cut services for kids with disabilities.
Because we're already at the bottom of the barrel, right? We're already fighting for scraps. There's already been disinvestment, so that we really can't take the brunt of this. And federally, we're exempt from it. It's how the state applies the law, right? It's really, New York could protect us if they shifted things. It will be difficult because they have to they have to cut from somewhere, but we could be protected. It's up to the decisions that they make. At least we shouldn't be the one that carries it.
Well, the other thing about early intervention is that, if kids get the services they need between birth and age 3,
Right.
then that doesn't get kicked down the road to the school systems, to the adult services, to, you know, all the things that we were talking about here. So I think if our legislators understand that early intervention, you serve them now, you don't, it's like pay me now or pay me later. And that's kind of, they're saying, let's pay us later. Yeah.
That's like transition. My daughter's 18. Whoo, that is a cliff. That's a cliff, and thought I was ready for the cliff. We need to invest in that other milestone moment in your life when that school bus stops coming, because she didn't get credits in high school. So Department of Ed is quite literally the only person who can support her besides my little meager self-direction budget till her 22nd birthday. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that. And the school districts they just haven't had this moment, this swell of people that have all these diverse needs, and the placements are so inadequate. But if we support somebody from 18 to 22 really well, then when they hit the adult world in the adult services, they're in much better position. In Arizona, New Jersey, Michigan, they have other ways of doing it that are beautiful. Where Department of Ed and OPW walk down that path together for 18 to 22. By the time you're in the adult world, there's no cliff. The two agencies have worked hand in hand all those years. That's what we need here.
I know, and having worked with each of your organizations, that, you know, when I've worked with Bridget at the Children's Agenda, they generally have talking points. And we all try to say the same things to the lawmakers and to the families, so that it's something that they've heard and heard and heard and heard again. I think if individuals reached out to, if they decide what's important to them or what they need help with, or what they would like to advocate for, whether it's their child or an issue affecting individuals with disabilities, if you call the particular organization, you know, Bridget's organization can give you, the Children's Agenda has talking points, Autism Up has talking points. Prime Care and Starbridge, in my experience at least, and I do think that you certainly do advocacy on a broad perspective, but you guys seem to empower the families to advocate for the individuals, which I think is super important too. So I guess it kind of depends on what somebody's looking for to know what would make them most effective, I guess. So it's almost, I think, a slightly difficult decision or a question to answer. But if somebody just kind of decides what's important to them, there are certainly organizations in the community that can give them some direction on how to advocate, be a stronger advocate for what's most important to them. I guess I just say that from a personal perspective. Well, I think your question was really difficult to answer, and I think it's because everybody has, you know, individual needs and things that are super important to them.
I think we need the dignity of choice.
Yeah.
If we look at CDPAP as one example of where we had 600 choices and now we have one and it's a monopoly, at least with care management, right, we can say, person-centered's not working for me, I'm gonna try Prime Care. You have a choice. As soon as they eliminate choice, then you're stuck. And you have to deal with a private equity, you know, profit-making company that isn't going to maybe cater to you in the same way. And when we're talking about self-direction, we have FIs in self-direction, just like they had in CDPAP. We have to see the parallel of taking the choice away. In the state, once they only have one vendor, they're hand in hand and we're out of the picture. So I think when you're talking to representatives and elected officials, we deserve the dignity of choice. The high school doesn't tell you what college to send your kid to, right? Like, you have choice. We all have to have choice, even if we have a disability or don't have a disability.
So we're at, we have a question? You're fine.
I can speak about this.
No, it's because on people later.
Thank you. Hi, I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind sharing the name of the podcast you briefly mentioned that you were a part of.
Yeah, Finding Common Ground, where we really take some hot topics in different perspectives and respectfully talk about them, because that's how you make a solution that works, that people buy into.
Any other questions? So we're rounding out at noon right now. Do you have any final thoughts on the panel that you would like to express? Or things that you'd like to share?
I was going to say, I'm running a housing class that starts in October. I'm going to be working with Amy Johnson. She's another housing navigator. And it's like 6 weeks of intense getting you ready, all the discussions, making sure you have all the boxes checked. I highly recommend if you're even thinking about it, exploring that option. We also do a speaker series every month that we talk about different advocacy topics. That's usually virtual or at least hybrid, so.
Okay. I always say we need to be fearless to advocate. You can't fear. You have to be fearless, and you have to see the need, and you have to speak up. If I don't speak up, she doesn't speak up, and the problem is not there. That's what it looks like. But the problem is there, then we all need to speak up, whether as a mom, as a professional, as a teacher, as a superintendent, wherever and whatever your position is.
So I would say find your own advocacy route, find your own path. Like Britt said, find something that's important to you and speak up about it. From Starbridge, again, like you said, we try to train families so that they can be the best advocates for their kids that they can be. And as those kids age into adulthood, we try to train them in their own self-advocacy. My own son, who's now in his 20s, is a pretty good self-advocate. So that's one of our goals, is to do the work with you, hand off the baton, and then you are empowered to be your own advocate and to be an advocate for your child.
And then you can refer another parent.
And then you can do that.
I like that.
Yeah, the circle, yeah.
Someone behind you.
Yeah.
And I would just say that if you are interested in learning more about systems level advocacy, which is, changing the public funding and laws and things like that, you don't need a lot of time, or you could spend a lot of time. But either way, what changes is when a lot of people say the same thing. And that's
True.
what we have to do. We can't cover everything,
Yes.
but if we all say the same thing, we win. And then the next year we can say the next most important thing. And if we all say it together, it'll happen. And so, it's all different levels of advocacy are really important. But the systems level takes a group of people to get together and decide what's the priority, and then just push really hard.
Well, thank you, everyone. You've been wonderful, and hopefully this is starting the ball rolling for everybody in the room here today and everybody who watches this as to, being that advocate and, all banding together and making this possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
for the
having us.
opportunity.
Yes, thank you.